All right, so I'm going to go over the objectives first. The first objective is going to create a block, which is an abstraction or a function. Those of you who already know how to create a block, that's fine. But the main focus of today is creating the block. Number 2 is going to review iteration, which in turn just means repetition. We've had 3 repetition blocks that we worked with before, and that is the repeat until, repeat a certain amount of times, and finally, the forever loop. Right, so we're talking about our loops when we talk about number 2. For number 3 is using sequencing. Sequencing just means in a certain order, right? So we're going to go ahead and open up Snap, and you're going to see something like this. I suggest, and this is for everybody, I suggest that it's going to make it way easier if you do it like this, all right? I suggest that you guys put these blocks that are in motion and put them on the scripting area. Why? You're going to need them. All right, it's to turn a certain amount of degrees. I have mine on 60. Point in a certain direction. I have mine on 90. And the go to 0, y0. Because just like the last lesson, you're going to have to be repeating yourself several times. Not as much as before, but a good amount of times. We're going to get started. Well, first let me show you what the final product is going to be. The final product is going to be a row of houses. And it's going to look something like this. I already have a block made that I previously did. I'm going to move this over here. And I'm going to create a total of 5 houses. Well, let me see how I need to redo that. I have a clear button here, clear. Let me move my sprite back to the middle. And put it maybe over here now. Clear. Make this bigger. And there are my row of houses. You're going to create this with one single block or a single function or abstraction. They're all the same thing, right? I'm using all 3 words because you're going to see all 3 words in different places. The AP Computer Science exam calls it a function. Sorry, an abstraction. Coding languages call it a function, and we call it a block. All right. So I would start you off first by creating the first piece of the house, which is a square. And that's simply moving forward. I put 100 and turning 90 degrees. So after moving, I put 100 for the amount of steps that it's going forward, and I'm turning 90 degrees, and I put this in a loop. And I'm just going to repeat this 4 times because I'm creating the square that the sprite draws out. Also, I'm going to put a pen down. Again, I just started off with a bunch of trial and error. Put my X back in the middle. Clear, and I see that I now draw a square. Now I'm going to work on what? The triangle. I noticed, again, by trial and error, was that I needed to find the angle that made this isosceles triangle. Does anybody know the angle of an isosceles triangle? The inside angle. 30. 30? All right, let's try 30. So again, this goes back to the trial and error. Do you think that's going to create the isosceles triangle? Maybe not. I went with 60. All right. So this is why I have this point in direction 90, because I want to reset my turtle to look in the direction 90, like that. All right. So in this case, again, I'm going to turn my 60 degrees. And it looks like that will create my isosceles triangle. Does anybody know the sides of isosceles triangle? All the sides are what? Equal. Which means that I have to move forward how many times? 3 times? How many steps must I move forward? If this is 100, well then the other one is? Isosceles, we said that all the sides were the same. So then I'm going to go ahead and move 100. Let me see if it's going to work. Motion, move 100. Hey, and it looks like it will, right? But now I have to turn the other way. How many degrees? 60? 120. Very good, Achilles. Because I'm making up for the other 60 degrees. And I'm moving forward how many? 100, right? Guys, once I get to this part, I need to do what? I'm already done with the house, correct? But I need to put my sprite somewhere where I'll be able to draw 5 more. If I'm doing the same thing over and over, what block could I use? Forever? Do I want to make forever houses?
No.
I want to make what?
5.
I want to make 5 houses. So what kind of block should I use?
Repeat 5 times.
Okay.
5 times.
Right. Now, be careful, because do you think if my sprite starts here and I put to make the house that I just created, it's going to make another house perfectly on the side? No, because you have to start off where you ended. Sorry. You have to start off in the same position that's the same or close to the same as the first position you started. Right? You can't start at the top of the house drawing it and then continue start at the top of the house when you start drawing it, and then start at the bottom of the house the second time and expect it to draw the same thing. Right? So again, that's what I'm going to have you do. I'm not going to do it for you. You guys are going to think through it. But by the end, you should have something that looks similar. Again, I'm clicking on point in direction 90 so that way it points the direction I want it to. That looks similar to these 5 houses being drawn. You put them all in one block. Just like this. You put them all in one block, run it, and it creates your 5 houses. I'm going to go ahead and leave this up here and make sure to turn it in by the end of the period. All right, that's it.